Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and in this video we are going to create a new Python project. So of course the first step is to go to Replit, so replit.com, and we're going to create a new REPL Python project, and let's call this Math Game. And I'm going to call mine Math Game 2000 because I'm pretty sure I have a bunch of math games in here. Alrighty, and the goal of this assignment is for us to create an app that asks the user a couple of math questions and just tells them if they got the answer right. So this is going to be a review of everything that we've done so far. It's going to be a review of input-output statements, a review of variables, a review of math operations, and we're going to add in the new thing that we've learned this week, if-else statements. So if they got the answer right, it's going to say, hey, you got that right. If they got the answer wrong, it's going to say, hey, you got that answer wrong, right? So we're just adding one extra layer to what we already know how to do. Okay, so let's start. The first thing we need to do is we need to just give them instructions, right? Or just tell them, hey, welcome to my math game. That's pretty easy to do. We can write a print statement for that. Welcome to my math game. Okay, easy enough. Now we're going to want to have a score. We want to keep track of their score. We want to keep track of how many questions they get right. So at the beginning of the game, the score is going to be 0, right? Because we don't want to give them any extra points they didn't earn. So we're going to type score equals 0. So that's us creating a new score variable and storing the value of 0 inside of that variable. Okay, now we can start writing our questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask the question, allow them to answer it, and store that answer in a variable called answer1. Okay, so we've done this a couple of times before, so hopefully you already know where we're going. So answer1 equals input. Now, before we get too far, remember with the last assignment, we had to cast our answers or whatever they typed as an integer, as a whole number. And you might think, well, we should do that same thing now because we're asking them to enter numbers. We don't really have to because we can compare what they typed with a string, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. So we don't actually have to type the int parentheses before this answer. We can just take their answer as a string. Okay, so I'm going to say input. And you know what? I want some extra lines between this text and the next and the question. So I'm going to use this special character or the special character sequence called new line. So we do a \n, and it should be purple like that. If it's purple, that lets you know that it's actually going to do the thing we want it to do, which is just it's kind of like hitting enter on the keyboard when you're typing in Microsoft Word. It'll just, or Google Docs, right? It'll just go to the next line. So that's what that keystroke sequence does. So we'll say, what is 4 times 12? I don't know. What is 4 times 12? We'll say 4 times 10, make it easier. Okay. And then I'm going to do another new line, and I will type answer. Oh, I misspelled answer. So you'll notice we're going to have what is 4 times 10 and then answer, right? And those will be on separate lines. So let's make sure that actually works the way we want it to. Okay, so you'll see we have an extra line here. We have what is 4 times 10, and then we have answer. And then I can type my answer, whatever it is, right? So 40. And it's not going to do anything yet because we haven't written the rest of the code, but at least it looks the way we want it to. Okay, perfect. So now we have to determine if what they've answered is the correct answer, the answer we're looking for. So for that, we need an if statement. So if answer1 equals. Now we need 2 equal signs here because we're comparing the value of a variable to a specific thing. If we only use 1 equal sign, we'll actually be replacing what's inside that variable with whatever comes after it. So it's important that we use 2 equal signs for comparisons. And we're looking for a string and we're looking for 40. So if answer 1 equals 40, then we do something, okay? The thing that we do is we first improve our score. So score plus equals 1. What that's going to do is it's going to add 1 to our score, right? So that's what plus equals mean. We're going to add 1 to whatever's in the score variable. So we've updated our score, and we're going to print, oh, you got that question right. So we'll let them know, hey, you just got that question right. Okay. Now notice that score and print are indented underneath the if, meaning there's some space between this complete left line on the margin and where the text starts. Indentation is incredibly important in Python. If you do not indent these two lines, then Python won't know that these lines are supposed to be inside this if statement, okay? So this indentation is important. Make sure your code looks exactly like mine. That way it is correct. Now, we want to handle what happens if they get it wrong, right? So we can handle that in what's called an else. So we have if the answer is 40, we do those two things. Else, meaning answer isn't 40, we do something else. And so else needs to be on the same line as your if, so it needs to be all the way back to the margin. So you'll hit backspace to get there, and we'll type else. Now, this line has to be indented as well because it's inside of the else, meaning else we're going to do this, right? So print, and all we have to do is tell them you got that question wrong, okay? So if they get the answer correct, then they get an improvement to their score. If they get, and they get told you got the answer right. If they don't get it correct, then we tell them you got that question wrong. Now the beautiful thing about this is once we've written one question, actually let's test it first before we move on. Let's test to make sure it works perfectly. Okay, what is the answer? The answer is 589. You got that question wrong. Okay, let's try again. So I got what I was looking for here. Let's give them the right answer. 40. You got that question right. So notice that the first time I ran the program, I got this message because I typed the wrong answer. The second time I ran it, I got this message because I typed the right answer. Okay, now the beautiful thing is once we get one question working properly, we can add as many questions as we want. All we have to do is copy this code and then change the variables. So instead of answer 1, it's going to be answer 2. I can change the question. What is 100 divided by 20, for example? We can change answer 1 to answer 2. So if answer 2 equals 5, then we improve their score and they got the question right. Okay, perfect. And again, we can do it again. We can add as many questions as we want because we don't have to retype all of this code. We just change the variables. Answer 3. Answer 3. What is 12 minus 2? The answer is 10. See how easy that is? All right. Now, once we're done adding questions, you can add as many questions as you want. Once we're done adding questions, we need to tell them the quiz is over and what their score is. So all we need is a formatted print statement. Print F. The quiz is done. Your score, and then we'll output score. Okay, perfect. So easy enough. All right, it looks like a lot, but most of this was just copy and pasted. Let's go ahead and run this to see if my quiz game works the way I want it to. What is 4 times 10? That's 40. You got that question right. What is 100 divided by 20? I'm going to get this one wrong. It's 50. You got that question wrong. Oh no. What is 12 minus 2? That's 10. I got that question right. The quiz is done. Your score is 2. So I got 2 questions right. And I actually don't like that this text, or actually right here, this text is right next to that. So I'm going to add a new line right there just to make it look nicer. Let me run it again. Hopefully, if Replit decides it wants to work properly. There we go. And I'm just going to give it all wrong answers. All right, now I have that space that I was looking for. The quiz is done. Your score is 0. All right. Once you get this game working properly, you can add as many questions as you want and go ahead and turn it in. As a reminder, to turn in your projects, you're going to click Invite. You're going to click Private Join Link, and you're going to copy that link and paste it into the submission box in Canvas. Please let me know if you have any questions or you need any extra help. Thanks. I'll see you next time.